With the Raptors headed to the NBA Finals for the first time ever, journalist Muhammad Lila shared the moving story of Raptors superfan Nav Bhatia, which highlights multiculturalism and inclusiveness in the city of Toronto. This is a story about racism, sports, and why you'll end up cheering for the Raptors in the NBA Finals. When you think of the Raptors, you probably think of Drake on the sidelines as the team's biggest fan, jumping up and down, but the thing is, he's not. In Toronto, they love Drake, but there's someone else who symbolizes everything great about the city and Canada. Nav Bhatia. You're going to see a lot of him on TV waving his towel. He's 67 years old and still cheers louder than your teenage nephew. If you've ever been to a Raps game, you wouldn't miss him. Here's what most people don't know about Nav. He's been at every single Raptors home game since 1995. That's right, every single one. Through Damon, Vince, CB4, a zillion coaches, blackouts, blizzards, you name it. Big deal, right? Wait, there's more. Bhatia came to Canada as an immigrant in the 80s with almost nothing. As a brown turban guy with an accent, he had a very hard time getting a job as an engineer, so he wound up working as a car salesman at a dealership in a rough part of town. Devastating, right? Nope, not for Nav. He sold 127 cars in just 90 days. That's a record that still stands to this day, and he did it the old-fashioned way, by being honest and, yeah, some catchy radio ads. He was so good, he eventually bought the dealership. Crazy, right? Guess what's even crazier? He later bought another. Back in 1995, when the businesses weren't doing so well, he still bought season tickets. They cost a lot, but he didn't care. He loved the team, even those ugly purple dinosaur logos, and he wore them with pride. If you go to a Raps game, you'll see his big goofy smile on the baseline. When you're an immigrant, nothing feels more patriotic than waving your country's flag or cheering your team. Sports are the great equalizer. In any other city, a guy like Nav might stand out, but not in Toronto. Toronto is a place where immigration works, multiculturalism works. Ask anyone who's been to a Raptors game and they'll tell you it's one of the most diverse places in the world. You'll hear a dozen different languages. You'll see black guys with dreads hanging out with Korean guys eating poutine together. In other cities, that would be really weird, but in Toronto, it's perfectly normal. When you see a guy like Nav, you're not just looking at a super fan, you're looking at the story of Toronto. It's why a guy like Charles Barkley loves the city. It's why Shaq and LeBron James and others go there every single summer, and it's what makes Canada special. While the world is building walls, Canada is building bridges. A guy like Nav is their best symbol of that. He's not just a guy from Toronto. Nav is Toronto. It's a place where people work hard, make it, and then still care enough to get back. When his dealership started doing better, he could have called it a day, checked out, said, hey, I did my part, but instead, every single year, he spends over $300,000 of his own money to send kids, mostly from brown immigrant families, to Raptors games. And he does it just to show them that they belong. Basketball, and sports in general, can be more than just a game. When the finals tip off on Thursday, the world is going to see Toronto being Toronto. Diverse, strong, and caring. And there will be a 67-year-old sick man wearing a turban leading the charge. Thanks for listening to this story about Nav Bhatia and checking out the Midwest Sports Network. I hope you'll subscribe to our YouTube. Find us on Facebook. We're doing really poorly on there. We're good on Twitter and Insta. We're on there as well. And this story is from a journalist named Muhammad Lila, and this is exactly what I hope for the world that I want to raise kids in. So I thought this was a beautiful story, and I should retell it in my own way. Thanks for checking it out.